Okay, first observation is this Helm is lovely, guys. I'm really a big fan of essentially the armrest and the massive sliding window here. So it gives you good connection with communicating to anyone out on deck, forward, but also you feel a bit of a sense of connection with the water. Drop down armrest here. I've got a flip up bolster like so I can create more room, and you know, I'm 5'7", got that much space above my head. I tend to sit down a lot driving these boats, and you can see in terms of my leg room, I've actually put a cushion in here, so if you're a big bloke or girl, you've got a lot more space to play with. So IPS 600s, 440 horsepower each. We've got about 550 odd litres in the tanks, 1,500 total capacity. She's about 12.5 tonne light ship, and we're just going to run it through the paces. We have scoped out the offshore conditions today. These are an offshore boat, but I don't take privately owned boats out in the ocean when there's breaking waves on the bar. So I'm not prepared to do that today. So we're going to stay inshore, and we'll go as much as we can into some of the swells, but there's a lot of surfers paddling across today, and once again, not really interested in endangering other people in that manner, so we'll just do what's safe, as you should too. So if you haven't seen the walkthrough, that's already on the channel. You can find that in the channel description. We'll link to that down below as well, and we will be doing some anchoring later on in the video and some parking for you to see how it behaves. At the moment, 1,400 RPM. I've got a GPS speed of 8 knots SOG, and we're going to run this direction. We're going into the wind, and then we're going to run the other direction with the wind, and the tide is changing at the moment. So it was low tide not too long ago, so not too much movement at this point in time. And I'm just going to get the boat up and moving. We'll get to a slow cruise. I got the trim assist in auto, and just accelerating there. You see at about 2,000 to 2,100 RPM, the motors really kick in. You feel those turbos kick in. She lurches up, and from about 2,500 onwards, she starts to settle in. But you may notice, I'm not a tall guy, but my eye line over the bow, totally safe. So I'm at 18 knots already. Just going to turn into some of these waves, and I didn't need to stand up, and if I just increase that speed from 18 to low 20s, so from 2,500 to 2,700 RPM, I'm seeing a total fuel flow of under 100 litres. We're in Australia, so we're talking litres today, and we are comfortable at 21 knots. She still feels like she wants to go faster, to be honest. Let's look at 23 knots. Okay, that's 23 knots. I'm at 2,900 RPM. Trim feels good. I'm watching the bar now. I see breaking waves. I see waves hitting the rocks. And now I'm actually just going to stand up and really eye off for anyone paddling. And I'm just going to play it totally safe. We've got two sets of eyes looking, and we will try and bounce through a couple of waves if it's safe to do so. Looking at the track up ahead, I've just got tinnies, so all good. Definitely not safe to exit because we do have large swells offshore, and I know some of you are going to jump in the comments and go, I've seen bigger waves at my port. Yes, I'm sure you have. I'm just trying not to be a galah. So, not my boat. Okay, I think it's time. I don't see anyone in the water, and I'm going to come around at 24 knots SOG, and I'm just going to tuck on the inside of this tinny because he's, oh look at that, came off the plane without looking behind. That's a silly thing to do. So tracking my line up the middle here. Once it's safe to do so, we're going to increase speed, and we'll do fast cruise. So we're going from what you could argue is a bit of a moderate cruise right now, 24 knots, 110 litres consumption total at 2,950 RPM. Feels really good, no need to stand. If I increase that speed from here, 3,000 to 3,100 RPM. She feels good. The wind coming through the windows is quite pleasant, and it's not buffeting me. I have both windows open, but it's actually quite pleasant. We do have air conditioning should we choose, but it's quite nice. So 3,080 RPM. I'd say your fast cruise, 3,100, gives you about 27 knots. 27 knots. I do have some boat wash up ahead, so I'm going to try and get a little blast in before that's on our nose, because I will be slowing down for the next one. And 30 knots, 31 knots, 3,500 RPM, 32 knots into the wind, and now I've run out of opportunity, so I'm slowing down there. We will do this again on the other way. I'm going to take the wide amount of water and overtake into some waves on us in 3, 2, 1. I noticed compared to, if any of you are familiar with the earlier model rivs, even the offshores from back in the day, this one has a tendency to displace the water, and it's drier. So it's drier than any of those earlier model rivs. Any of you guys who are familiar with what I am talking about, we're just going to cruise sensibly now. I've got a parasailer heading up, but we're safe and clear of him. And yeah, happy days, guys. This is comfy. It's comfy, and it's low workload. So as some of you have noticed in previous videos, when I'm in really busy waterways with multiple factors to consider, having access to a boat that is a nice, predictable hull. I'm just coming off the plane now, slowing down to 20 knots, and soon we'll get into displacement mode. If you have access to a boat that doesn't require you to think too much about all of these controls, this goes back to my argument earlier on in the beginning video, why I think it's a great first boat, but it's also a great last boat. What that allows you to do, it frees up the rest of your mind for thinking in terms of situational awareness. So if you've got good situational awareness, you can be a safer boater. But some boats keep you super busy. I'm just watching Big Maritimo coming up my ass, so I'm going to let him overtake us before we do anything. Yeah, if you're able to maintain good situational awareness, you can be a safer boater, and boat design comes into that. He's going to put off a huge amount of waves in a second, so I'm going to try and drive into him immediately after. I'm just watching. Giving him some room there. Okay, yeah, I got heaps of water, 7 meters, perfect. Yeah, so if you are in these busy waterways, what it does is it gives you, now he's going to come right up our ass. That's okay, tight waterways. It allows you to drive safely, and then it frees up your headspace, as I am trying to use my headspace right now. And we'll go straight into these to be a safer boater. Big wave. Okay, nicely done. And now we are going to get the boat in position. We've got green on the left, red on the right, watching for traffic. We're going to increase up to a slow cruise, and then we're going to get fast run when it's safe to do so. I'm going to increase after I pass this small bow rider. I'm just going to get the boat up to a slow cruise, and then I'm going to put it onto a fast cruise once we pass this little boat on our starboard side. Parasailer's crossing, he's in the clear. We've got 20 knots and climbing. So yeah, that's just one of the things that a design like this will happily do for you. I'm actually going to try and maintain this speed, but I'm going to go to the other side of the channel as we have a guy on anchor, a little tinny, and then if it's safe to do so, we will increase speed after we do the overtake. So just coming up at 25 to 27 knots, 130 litres total consumption at this speed, and I'm going to have an opportunity to speed up either straight away or after this next boat. And once we've overtaken this guy, I'm going to give the next guy a bit of room. There we go. We're going to go through these next waves. That looks like a Caribbean, or maybe it's an older Riv, I can't tell. And then we're going to increase from 27 knots. It's a Riv 3000, earlier model, offshore. Okay. We're going to go through his waves in 3, 2, 1, and increase speed. Wide open throttle. Fuel consumption 160 litres, and climbing it may settle down. Speed 32, speed 33 knots, and climbing 33 and a half, and climbing downwind this time. I see 168 litres, total consumption 34 knots, about 34 and a half. Now I'm just going to bring it back to a sensible speed. That was about 3,500 RPM. And just watching for surfers again, picking my line. And yeah, I can talk till the cows come home about situational awareness and boat design, but you really only get a feel for this in an honest fashion by doing exactly what we are doing. Hopefully you can see through camera 1 and camera 2 and the drone, there is lots of traffic. I'm watching for the surfers again. I see 2. I'm going to be doing an early turn. We'll go into some waves, and this is why I see 2 more. I got 4 surfers. I'm going to start my turn early so I don't freak them out. The boat is an inherently comfortable design through a turn, so if you've got non-boaters, you're actually not going to freak them out on one of these. It doesn't have a deep lean into the turn, and even your sight lines all the way around. Again, if you're thinking early novice boater or just a relaxed boater, I can see everything because the galley doesn't hinder my sight line, so that's quite nice. Continuing at 27 knots, we've got a boat up ahead, so we'll be coming off the plane soon. I'm going to slow back down to a slow cruise. Really comfortable. You could live with this boat for a considerable amount of time. I'm not going to say throw it around, that's the wrong terminology for a boat of this style, but she responds quite well. So if you need to maneuver quickly, you can. I hope that makes sense. So now I'm just going to be coming back to a displacement speed. We're at 18. And now let's just dissipate those waves. I can see everything, no hindrance. You feel good connection with the water here, unlike a flybridge where you are somewhat separated from the noise of the engines and the sound of the sea. You feel much more, a greater degree of connection on a design like this. And also less stress. One thing to note, if you were docking the boat, because some of you are going to comment about the lack of a side opening door, with this bloody great big window here, you could just reach into the joystick right here, and we have a wing station, which we'll demo in the other part. Okay, let's just check some displacement fuel flows for you. So I'm at 9 knots SOG. I am consuming 32 litres total at 1,700 RPM. At 9 knots. That is making a moderately offensive wash. It's fine out in the open, but if you were in a no wash zone, you might piss off some people. So if we just dial that down to 1,500, let's have a look. You do notice a few degrees of lowering of the bow at 1,500, so she's proper displacement. Oh, look at that, I'm still seeing 8.5 knots. Let's call it 8 because we're downwind. 2.7 litres a nautical mile, and 23, call it 20 to 25 litres at 8 knots. Really, really social. Waves are acceptable. And if you're in a marina, you'd be at 5 knots to 4 knots for obvious reasons. Very good. Okay, so from here, we'll go to the next part and we'll crack on. All right guys, so we're just going to do a little touch and go. We don't even do a touch and go because we left the fenders at the vessel's marina dock. But just as a little demonstration, I'm coming in on throttles. I love the visibility all around. Again, I'm just going to repeat how much I really enjoy having this big wide opening window. I'm going to transition to joystick in a second, just coming in on throttles. And I'm just going to side slip the boat sideways on joystick. I'll just get the boat stopped first. Okay, so transitioning to joystick here is just press docking. And slow and steady wins the race when it comes to joystick, guys. It's whilst it feels like a video game, you don't need to move the joystick in rapid, crazy, over-the-top movements. You can just be sort of slow and steady and controlled. And when you're stopping the boat, so I'm going to do that in a second, I'm just going to hold it a couple of meters off the dock here. You can just gently bring the joystick back into the center line and then apply force in the other direction. So there you go, you can kind of hold the boat there, and now I'll just check out to starboard and we'll side slip it to starboard. And once I've cleared the dock here, I'm actually going to transition to the wing station. So I've got the joystick and the helm on port side, and then I have the wing station on starboard. So depending on whether you are coming in on port or starboard, you essentially just want to do that. Before I do, I shall point out something that I've learnt earlier today. I'll just keep some sideways push on. If you double press station, you will actually lock it. So this is the station just here. If you double press it, you will lock this helm and you won't allow anyone, i.e. kids, to take control. So that's just something to be aware of. So if I leave this helm, I'm all clear. I'm just going to now transition to the aft helm. I take control or take command by pressing the left button on this little panel here, and that gives me on, and now I have control. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to swivel the boat here, and then we'll just get the boat moving. No rush. Perfect viz all the way around. This is a really, really good boat for this style of maneuvering because you just don't need to have too many people involved in the process. Got a little bit of wind here. We're just going to maneuver the boat around, keeping ourselves clear from the dock. And one of the lovely things about joysticks, so I'm going to swap hands in a second. So I'm going to bring the joystick back to the center line nice and slow. And then I can take my right hand off, put my left hand on, reposition my body. And now I've got much better situational awareness out to starboard, so I can see all the way up the starboard side of the boat. It's blow on situation at the moment, so I'll just settle the boat down. There we go. And now let's side slip it ever so gently. There's no rush. Slow and steady wins the race with these joysticks because you don't need to rush. You don't need to come in fast and heavy like you might do with big torquey props. You can have a lot more finesse if you wish. And then if you option the boat with the DPS and the dock assist, you really can settle yourself down and be quite relaxed. I would argue on a boat of this size, because of the management required or the less management required, you should talk to your dealer as to whether that is even necessary. I'm just watching out for the pelicans, and I'm just going to maneuver myself, and I'm actually going to just drive away from the marina first. I can see even little short Dan, I got perfectly fine viz. Swapping my hands, I can see that's good. So now that I'm at a safe distance, considering blow on, I can leave this helm and I'll actually just leave that and take command over here, station, and I've got control. So yeah, it'll allow you to proceed in forward under joystick control at a sensible speed. So that's going to be no more than about 4 knots. But as I was saying before, if you are considering upgrading to the DPS and the dock assist, just have a drive if you get the opportunity, or talk to your dealer, because it may literally just be an expense that you don't need to invest in. You could just put that money into another extra that you're going to get more use out of, because once you've had a bit of a go on this boat, it's not of such a great size and a great mass that you need that extra technology and you need that extra help. Again, if it's your first boat, I understand the justification, but if this is your last boat, you know, you consider the number of steps to go from there to the bow, you consider the visibility from there and also from here. It's very good. So just think that one through and work out what's best for you, for your boat life. All right, guys, I hope that was useful for you. She is a reasonably sized boat. She's a big boat that feels like a little boat, is my impression in terms of managing this vessel. So yeah, very happy with the way it drives. You know, we saw, I'm gonna say, we can call it 32 knots, wide open throttle, because we saw 34 downwind and about 31 upwind. So somewhere in that region, wide open. We saw 27 knots, fast cruise, 24 knots, 23 knots, moderate cruise. So it's just really comfortable. The bow raise on acceleration right through the range, as long as you give it a bit of juice from displacement onto the plane, no loss of visibility, really good sight lines all the way around. So if I'm on a busy waterway, this is a safe boat to drive, because you don't have to be ducking your head around in too many funny, awkward angles to see what is going on. So I really like that. So what does this boat compare with if you're in the market? Not a lot in Australia or Asia, to be fair, in my personal opinion. Jump in the comments if you disagree. I'd say the Marex 390, already on my channel, a wonderful brand from Norway, is a fair comparison to this if we're talking about build quality and features. That is one to honestly do some comparisons with. And I know a lot of you are going to be looking at the Beneteau Swift Trawler 41. I like that boat. It's functionally very cool. It's got some good things about it. It's not built to the same standard as one of these, so don't pretend that it is. It's not the same boat, but it does have a lot of functionally sensible features and layouts. So again, you be the judge. I'm not here to tell you what to do, but those might be some options for you to consider. There are also some other brands in the Nordic countries which I have had the pleasure of testing over the last 12 months, which I would sit alongside this one. I might talk about that on the Patreon, because they're not actually in Australia yet, so they're somewhat irrelevant. But overall, 2 thumbs up. A really, really nice piece of kit that does what it says it's going to do, doesn't stress you out, allows you to free up the rest of your headspace for good situational awareness, so you can learn to be a safe boater or continue boating in a safe manner now that you're done with your bigger boats and your fly bridges. So if that's you, have a look at this boat. Hope that was useful. See you in the next one, guys. Cheers.